Hello, beautiful people. How are you guys doing today on this cold Tuesday? At least where I am, it's cold. Yana Kasperczak, your spiritual awakening core energy coach, and my soul's purpose is to help you get your shit together so you can break free from that mental prison that you find yourself in and live the life that you are proud of, love, and are freaking excited to wake up to every single day. So if you don't feel like you have your shit together, or if you feel trapped in your mind, in your stories, and perhaps you're finding yourself not loving life or snoozing your alarm and not waking up in the mornings and struggling to get started, then these videos that I do every Tuesday are just the tip of the iceberg of what I create to help you get your shit together and live the life that you really want to live and enjoy. So to help you do that and then some, I wanted to talk about the stories of so many women and men as well, but since I work with women, I mostly talk to women. So here you go, ladies. One of the things that during this season that I work with my clients with and through is the sheer amount of overwhelm that they feel in their day-to-day life, and they can't seem to shake it off until they start doing these things that I'll be sharing with you. And another note for those of you who have daughters is that you might notice that your daughter is starting to feel too much and feeling overwhelmed and feeling stressed around this season as well. Now, I'll start off with saying every human being is made up of energy, and everything outside of our human body is also made of energy, meaning that everything is energy, and energy cannot be created nor can it be destroyed. It can be transferred, which means that whatever it is that you're going through, or let's take it outside of you and let's focus on the people outside of you, because we often notice things outside of us better than we notice them inside of us. But the reason why is because our external world reflects our internal world, and therefore it is up to you to learn how to decipher the external world and help you with your internal one. So focusing on the outside world, when you notice your co-workers, your employees, your friends, your family, strangers in the grocery store, driver in front of you or behind you or beside you, and you notice them being stressed, before you notice that, you feel it. And when you feel it, this is where your attention goes, where your energy flows. And what happens is that you start to pick up on where that energy is coming from, that you're starting to feel inside your body. Now, when you experience a certain type of story, or even experiences that you go through during a specific season, like this holiday, the Christmas season, or the New Year's, you have lived through enough of these to create some kind of stories based on this season that have now become the default programs in you. And it takes some time to start to recognize that you don't like to feel this certain way. And it is your emotions and your state of emotional being, your body, that feels overwhelmed, because you might have at this point conditioned yourself based on the past and the past stories that you have translated based on your external world of this is how you feel during the season. So emotional conditions of the body, which is based on the season that you have gone through and you have trained. So in the beginning of fall, one of the things that I work with women is when their kids are getting ready for school and how they start to feel overwhelmed and stressed out and unable to handle life or things, and it just becomes overwhelming. And one of the things I remind them is that this is how you little by little unconsciously started to program yourself. And at this point, it is your body that is responding to the season, and your mind, the translator that it is helping you to understand what your body is feeling. So it starts telling you all the stories that are draining and not gaining. So stories like, let's say some of you might have lost a loved one around the season. So your body is now emotionally conditioned to feel grief and loss around the season. Even though the season is all about happiness and joy, you struggle to feel happiness and joy because of the condition of your body, right? And the condition of your body is based on the stories that you have accumulated over your lifetime, little by little, unconsciously. And only when you become conscious of the stories will you be able to rewrite them and essentially reprogram your default program. And it's going to happen little by little, little by little. Every time you become aware of a certain state of your body, and this is where, when you become aware of the state of your body, you do have a conscious choice to take the time to understand what is happening in this translator box called your brain. That is, its job is to translate the external world at the same time as it's translating the emotional state of your body, to help you navigate yourself and your life. Because each and every one of us, our purpose here on this planet Earth is to become the best version of ourselves. That is each and every one of us, our purpose. We strive to be the best. Perfection is what we try to attain and reach every single day. And our external world, its job is to remind us of our shortcomings so we can do better. But the translator, the brain, it has been programmed to put us down, to punish, to remind you of your shortcomings in a negative way, which you have long since forgotten how to do it in the positive way. Because when you were young, if you took on the world's challenges in a negative way, you would have never learned how to walk or crawl, walk, talk, express yourself, dress yourself, and do all the things that you now see as normal way of living. But over your young life, you have been conditioned to be scared, to be fearful of that next thing that you might do because you might fail. And as true as that is, failure does not exist without success. Failure is just one tiny step towards success, which means how many times do you think or you believe you need to fail in order for you to become successful at anything and everything that you do? You did not learn how to walk the first time you tried. You had failed how to walk on average 300 times. That's on average how many times a baby will fall down and get back up feeling excited for that next step. And that is what I'm trying to convey to you when it comes to the default program of the world that you have also received, that failure somehow is no longer an exciting thing for you. Whereas back in the day, it was super exciting. How many times did you try to feed yourself with a spoon or fork before you could finally eat it without missing your mouth or without making a mess? Many times, maybe on average around the same 300 times. So, and that's why the next thing that pops to my mind is, on average, in order for you to become an expert on anything that you're doing, you are required and expected to put in about 10,000 hours into that craft, into that practice. Meaning, practice looking at failures in an exciting way, because you know something amazing and incredible is right around the corner. You don't know if it's going to be failure number 2, number 5, or number 10, or number 1,000. You don't know. But that is the exciting part, not knowing. And yet at the same time, the fear of the unknown is the most crippling and the scariest thing to everyone in this world, because it is the image of that deep, dark cave that you're about to walk in, called the unknown. So now that you understand a little bit more about the conditioning and a little bit more of the overwhelm and what it is actually happening in your body, that it is at this point just a bunch of stories that you have gathered that are causing you to feel this way. And the biggest part of that is that your trigger of the unworthiness is there, and the trigger of, I can't do this, I'm not good enough, who am I never get things done on time, why do I bother? These are just a tiny few messages that many have expressed that they're going through, and myself included, that you get to overcome these failures, quote unquote, which are bringing you that much closer to that version of yourself that you keep striving for and working for every single day. Consciously or unconsciously, each and every human being is doing their very best, even if it might not appear like that to you. When someone in your life comes across that they're not even trying, they're not even doing anything, that in reality they're doing their very best, even if it means just waking up and getting their kids to the bus, whether it's on time or late, they're still getting their kids to the bus, and then going back to sleep for the rest of the day. That is all that individual could possibly do to heal the brokenness inside. And that was one of my old experiences and stories and ways how I barely survived, and I felt like I was just surviving my days, until I learned how to overcome the conditioning of my body, my stories, and the world, and understand what's in it for me in all the areas. And this is the journey that continues to unfold on itself, and it will continue to do that for the rest of my life. So let me just open up my video to make sure that I'm seeing. Okay, just want to make sure that I'm seeing everything on here. I'm not missing any comments or anything, and that I have it open and ready to go. So the first thing that let me take a peekaboo at my lists of, step by step of what you can start doing to help yourself work through this overwhelm. Number 1 is you want to identify what is really bothering you. You want to identify those triggers. You want to identify those emotions, those feelings, those thoughts, or those experiences, internal or external. And the best way to do that is to get a piece of paper, get a pen, and start writing things down, to get that storm that is spinning and brewing inside your mind that is causing you to feel that overwhelm, because it feels like there's too much to do, to feel, to experience, too much to also be, where if you're trying to focus on yourself and you're trying to find time to be and focus on your self-love and self-care, it just feels like too much. That when you start getting those things out of your brain and onto a piece of paper, you will start to recognize that what feels like an overabundance of too muchness in your brain, that physically on the piece of paper, it is not as big and scary as it is, as our mind makes it out to be. Now, once you get everything out of your brain and you put it on paper, one thing that I love doing myself and with everyone that I work with is to clarify. To clarify what's on that list, and most importantly, to declutter, organize, prioritize, and delegate. Declutter means get the things off that paper. And how do you get things off that paper? Very simple. You can get a marker, or you can get a highlighter. You can get a highlighter. And what you're going to do, you can color code it as well if it's fun for you. It's fun for me. So if you find it fun, what you can do is all the things that you are just getting off your list that they don't even need to be there, they don't need to be done, it's just more like a thought that you're getting out of your brain, you can highlight it with purple, right? Purple is associated with crown chakra, so you can color it purple and recognize that this is your thoughts, this is what's floating in your brain that is serving you or not serving you. Regardless, it's purple. You're going to highlight it purple. All the things that you have decided, this is where you're going to organize. You're going to organize the things that you're doing, the things that somebody else is doing, and you can color code them as well. Pick a color for you, your favorite color, and you're going to highlight the things that you want to do with that color. And then the things that you want to delegate to someone else, you can color code them based on the person, depending on how many people you're going to be delegating. And then the things that you're delegating, some of them you can prioritize, but for the most part, you're going to leave the prioritization to the person who you're delegating it to, and you're just going to focus on the things that you are responsible for, and you're going to prioritize by labeling number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What you're going to do first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and so on. And it will help you to feel lighter, and the clarity just sets in, because now you're no longer feeling overwhelmed by the storm inside you, that you're seeing it in front of you. Now, some of the things that were thoughts or stories, you might want to, and when I say might, it is also a suggestion that I would recommend or suggest for you to focus on, not all of them because it would be too much to do, but the one that you feel ready to work through and overcome, and rewrite the story and rewrite the default program, rewrite the trigger, if you will, since you're also listing your triggers. You can also write all the things that you feel responsible for, all the things that feel like a workload where there's too many things that you gotta do. So write all those things out, and then start diving in deeper and helping yourself to understand what it is, why it is, and what are your options and choices with it. So basically, you're going to be breaking down the things that you're going to be doing into bite-sized, manageable pieces. Let me see, what else do I have on here. One of the things that you might not have on your list, and if you do, great, and if you don't, also great, and that's opportunity regardless of whether you have this on your list or not. And what it is what are you doing every single day, starting today if you haven't started already, or continue doing if you have started already, that is just for you. It is crucial for each and every one of us human beings to do at least one thing for ourselves that makes us feel like we're giving ourselves love. every single day. Now, for some of you, it might be meditation, it might be exercise, it might be walk, it might be simply taking a shower or a bath, or it might be doing your nails, or it might be doing your hair for the day, or it might be putting a little bit of makeup on, or it might be changing out of your pajamas. It literally could be anything, but doing something seemingly small and insignificant for yourself every single day, and then adding another thing over the period of time, that before you know it, you will be finally, or maybe once again, taking care of yourself in a way that you truly want to. And this is at one of the roots of self-mastery, of becoming the best version of yourself. In order for you to get there, you need to know who yourself is and who you want to be. And big part of that is the things that you enjoy doing with yourself, for yourself. It technically should not be including other people. It should be just for you and no one else. So when I was talking about emotional conditioning of the body, one of the things that I wrote down in here is your mind and body on this, how we celebrate this season, which has now at this point might have become a condition of your emotional condition of your body, of how you quote unquote celebrate the season, how you feel and experience feeling stressed and overwhelmed, because this is what is in a way expected, running frantically, making sure that you get all these things done before the season ends and before the year ends. So just to help you understand a little bit of these stories, one of the stories that honestly every woman that I speak with has shared with me, that one of the stories is having this end of the year as almost like a rite of passage, that in order for you to step into the new year, these are all the things that you must do and accomplish and have completed before you start the year fresh. Now, how limiting or how much of a burden do you think this would be on any given person, when there's enough things that the season itself holds for all of us to do, including in some areas shoveling the snow and maintaining the outside of the house so you can actually get through the door. Now luckily we haven't had much snow yet, but the winter hasn't even started yet. Technically it starts December 21st, and we're not, so far it does not look like we're going to be having white Christmas, just a wet one, rain. So some of the other stories, like with this one, for me, what I've uncovered is that I have put, because I have a practice of getting things out of my brain every single day on paper, so that way they don't spiral and they don't make me spiral as well. I need to see, and not that I need to see, I am excited to see of what's in my brain, so that way I can declutter, organize, prioritize, and delegate things off this list and enjoy my life, and instead of feeling overwhelmed and stressed. So one of the things that I have had on my list was this desk that I have bought in our previous house, and we brought it into this house. And my expectation of myself was to get this desk done before the end of the year, meaning paint it and have it put together, because it's completely taken apart. This desk was made, I believe it was made in the 50s, so it has quite a few antique features to it, and that's what drew me to this desk. And I wanted to refinish it in a very nice modern way. And now that it's been 3 years, maybe even 4 years of this desk being taken apart, that I had somehow decided in my mind that I must have this desk done by the end of the year. And just the sheer amount of work that is involved in simply painting this desk and making sure that it's actually even ready for the painting, and then painting this desk and letting it dry and sealing this desk and then putting it together and then assembling it in my office, I have decided I'm not doing it. And I, in a way of, not that I'm not doing it, is that I am not putting this expectation on myself of having to have it done by the end of this year, which is how many days away? What, 20 days away? Not even 20 days away. My math. Let's say 15 days away. Okay? Actually, even less. Doesn't matter. I'm not a mathematician here. Regardless, it's less than a month. And the amount of work that would be involved, yes, I can spend 2 full days doing that, but is this the priority? No, it's not a priority. There are other things that are priority. And is it something that I would enjoy doing? Yes. So I put that under my self-care, my self-love practice, because this is arts and crafts, and I love doing these types of arts and crafts for myself, with myself, because nobody else will be involved in doing that. And I have made a breakdown list of how I'm going to get this project done. Because when it comes to any kind of project that we are doing, we need to know all the nitty-gritty details, or at least the bird's eye view of this project, of what we're going to do, how we're going to do it, when we're going to do it, and break these things down. So when it comes to me completing this desk, it is a project. And I, as much as I would love to dedicate 2 full days to doing that, realistically, it's not going to happen, because it's not a priority on my list. So prioritizing is important. Now, let's talk about other unhealthy stories that some of you might be carrying. Stories around the season of, like I mentioned earlier, some of you might have experienced loss around the season. So your body feels re-triggered and you're feeling all sorts of emotions, and you might not be aware as to why. And most interestingly enough, even if you are, most of you are aware when it comes to loss and grief that you have experienced, and now your body is feeling triggered because 'tis the season, what you have gone through in the past, that you're starting to feel that same way. And your body is going to be responding, and your mind is going to be responding in the same ways as you previously have done, which is avoidance and ignorance, where you just ignore it and you don't want to deal with it, and avoiding it because tomorrow I'll feel better, without actually recognizing what your body is trying to do and your mind is trying to do, is trying to call you in and say, come on in and welcome yourself and work on yourself. So then maybe with friends, you have gone through some turmoil with friends around the season, or with family, and maybe there were some uncomfortable things that you went through, and you are now emotionally reliving the past in the present. Or maybe for a lot of you, it is actually the story of money around the season, where the world has conditioned, practically the whole entire world, of celebrating Christmas with presents, or an abundance of presents, and perhaps you can't afford presents, or you feel like you can afford presents, and the money story is coming up. Or maybe this is a slow season for your work or your business, that not as much money is coming in, so your money story is being triggered. And seasonally, when it comes to money stories, this is something that across the board all of us face and learn how to overcome, if we take the time in understanding, and then dissecting and understanding, and then putting a plan together of how we're going to overcome it. Because if you don't have a plan in place on whatever it is that you're working through, the project, right, whether it's a desk, whether it's your mindset, whatever the project is, if you don't have a plan in place, not much is going to change. And the things that are changing, they're going to feel small, and then before you know it, you might end up slowing down and not continuing on that project. Okay, or maybe you've spent Christmas and the season alone, and you're feeling lonely around the season because the global expectation is to be with the family and exchange gifts and spend time and be holly and all jolly and put out cookies for Santa. So uncovering what the story is as well, what your trigger is, it will help you to rewrite it to the one that you desire. Now, I already mentioned basically breaking down the times and breaking down the actual project of what you're going to do, when you're going to do it. You can go as deep as pulling out your calendar and then inputting, if you have, what do you call them? An agenda, and you have an agenda and it has a time breakdown, or you can write the time breakdown on your piece of paper or in your notebook. And if you write down the time, from when you wake up, and you break down the whole day hour by hour, or 45 minutes by 45 minutes, giving yourself 15-minute break between the things that you're doing, that you can literally schedule your day to get all these things done. But now the key is for you to be disciplined enough and dedicated enough to show up for yourself, for all of the things that you have put on that list. And also, the next thing that comes to mind is something that is very normal for all of us, is that quite often when we make these lists and these plans for the next day, for the next month, or the next week, we make them when we feel really, really, really good and amazing, and we feel on top of the world. So we often overcommit or overbook ourselves on the day and on the weeks and the things that we're doing. So this is where this might sound odd to most of you, because this is not something that you would probably enjoy doing, at least in the beginning. But doing this practice of setting up your days, your weeks, and scheduling and planning out on a day where you don't feel the greatest, when you feel like crap, when you feel overwhelmed and stressed out, when you feel too much or you're going through something, picking that day to allow you to plan your next day or next days or weeks or month, because you will not overcommit yourself. You will actually be able to understand how your days go because you're already triggered in a triggered state. So that might be a challenge and a half for some of you. But what happens afterwards is you feel amazing because you have just overcame yourself and accomplished something that you wouldn't have accomplished in another time, another day, and in a way that feels digestible and manageable. What else do I have on here? Change your stories to reprogram your default, to reprogram that default program. Do something for you. Delegate. Another one, be present. Meaning, maybe there's a mindfulness practice that you can do, just a simple breathing, or maybe even sitting outside or standing outside or going for a walk, where you're just with yourself and with nothing and no one else, and you go within, where you incorporate some deep breathing into your belly or into your chest or into your crown chakra, or even into your third eye, depending on where you want to or where you feel the breath is wanting to go during this specific time that you're going through. Another one, learn to say no. So when you have made that list of all the things that you gotta do or you have to do, some of those things are just going to be, where I'm talking about decluttering, is just getting things off that list that are no, that you're not going to do, whether not now or not ever. And some of them might be delegating. And seek support. Talk to someone. Reach out to a friend, to a family member, or a professional for support and guidance and helping you to see more clearly, because there's a reason why we feel better after reaching out to someone who is able to help us. And it's because that we don't see things in a way that others will see, because we're in it. And you cannot see when you're in it. When you can't see when you're in a swamp, how big the swamp is, how deep the swamp is. You don't see what's there. In order for you to see, you need to get out of it and be an outsider and see. And that's why bringing in an outsider to help you see more clearly helps in more ways than just one. And another one is celebrate the smallest of the wins. This is something that we all forget. If, let's say, you are in a place in your life where you have not been taking care of yourself, and let's say you have not been showering or bathing every day as you used to, as you enjoy, and it's been days or maybe even a week where you have not allowed yourself to take a shower, that when you do, celebrate that win, because you have just won yourself back little by little. And then maybe you can put a plan in place of how can you make sure that you get to do this every single day, where you get to just shower every single day or bathe every single day. How can you make it fun as well? Maybe you can bring candles in there. Maybe you can dim the lights if you have a dimmer switch in your bathroom, or turn the lights off entirely and just have candles. Or maybe you want to add some bath tea in there and sit with that. Making it more of a ritual in a way might be something that you would be interested in, or just showing up for yourself and being you and the water and nothing else. So celebrating even the smallest victories to maintain motivation and positive momentum. No matter where you are in your life, whether you are trying to get yourself back and you're just starting to take care of your basic human needs, believe it or not, there's quite a few people, and I was one of them, that have experienced such dark times in their life. Some of you might be experiencing that now, that you simply cannot even show up for yourself in the most basic way, which does not even feel basic at all, like brushing your teeth, combing your hair, or doing your hair, or bathing, or even listening to music, because somehow you have told yourself you are unworthy of listening to the sounds of joy and happiness, because music does that. Music makes you feel great and amazing, and it triggers that all the positive endorphins and hormones in your body that make you feel love. And you don't want to feel love, you want to feel more of unworthiness, and that happens on a subconscious level until you become conscious of it and you start to recognize your choices and following through on those choices and choosing yourself each and every day, going back to these basic needs. And little by little, you will be back on that horse, taking care of yourself in the way that you always wanted to. And you'll be shining brightly. And you'll be feeling great and amazing. So that is all that I have for you guys for today. Thank you everybody who was on here with me. I see Debbie was on here and is still on here. Hey Debbie, long time no see, beautiful. Debbie said, I just hung some lights in my window that felt like a great accomplishment, and baked some cookies. Next is to get my little tree decorated. Ooh, that's a lot of achievements in one day. So hanging some lights in the window, that can be quite a lot. Yeah. How we hang the lights and how many lights, and even just finding that desire and that energy to go and do that, because it's one of the things that comes to mind. This is a story of many people, many women, is that doing the same thing over and over again, whether it's every day or it's every year, where, oh, I gotta do that again, feeling like you have to do it. That, my friends, is an invitation for you to overcome that resistance of have to, and start figuring out how can you change the story from have to get to I choose to. The choice, the choosing, that's the highest of all actions, where you feel and you know it is a choice. And here's a kicker. If we start looking at the things that we're doing every day, or the things that we think we have to do, in a way of, how many more times do I get to do this? How many more years do I get to do this? And starting to see it as an opportunity, in a way of, I get to do this one more time and one more time, and just doing this thing that you're doing just one more time because you get to do it, is one of the ways how you can start to rewrite your whole entire default program of have to versus get to, and getting to choose to. How you do one thing is how you do everything. And through conversations with people, and with women specifically, I hear how they're living their life fairly quickly, because it comes through the words like this, when you understand the meaning of words and how we express ourselves, that how they show up for themselves and for people in their life, where most people see their existence of, I have to, I must, or else, versus I get to, and I choose to, because this is the most important thing, the most exciting thing for me right now, whatever it is that you get to do. So, and then Debbie said, I knew I'd enjoy the glow, but was just not ready before, and I pushed through it for me. Sometimes you do have to push yourself. So thank you for sharing that, Debbie. That sometimes we do have to push ourselves to do something, to get to the other side and rewrite that story of, I got to do that. Now I see why I wanted to do it, and maybe start to uncover where the resistance was coming from, of resistance of, I have to, I must, or else, and push yourself through it, do it regardless of how you feel, so you can step out of that swamp and see and reflect on it. And this is sometimes, and actually most of the time, this is how we rewrite the story. Not necessarily while we're in it. We can start, but it doesn't really settle until we're out and we're able to look and reflect on what we went through, what we got to go through, and learn from that, and apply to the next time, to the next time, to the next time, to the next time, and the next, and the next, and the next, and be excited about the next, and the next, and the next. So hopefully I helped you to feel less overwhelmed and more excited about what you get to do. But if you're still feeling like there is a have to, write those out and see what's in it for you. Because when you start seeing what you get out of that, what's in it for you, because maybe the have to is coming from, I have to do this because of this, or because of this person, or whatever the story might be that is in a way causing you to feel forced, like you have to do it. And when you just take a moment and think of yourself, what do I get out of that? What's in it for me? Why do I want to do that? And you start questioning yourself, and you start questioning this task or this activity in a way of yourself, and what do you get to walk away from? That, like Debbie said, that I would enjoy the glow, but was just not ready before I pushed through it for me. That looking at, I have to hang these lights, understanding the language, right? I have to hang these lights. Okay, I feel like I have to hang these lights. Why do I feel like I have to hang them? Okay, because of this, because of that, because of that. Okay, now, this is all outside of me, but what about me, the inside of me? Why do I, if I had a choice, what would help me to feel like this is a choice for me? Why do I want to do it? Why would I want to do it? And start listing those, maybe in a way like pros and cons, where you get to see what do you get out of that. And then it gets really exciting. Now, since we're talking about lights, I have a lot of lights hanging here, right? And it goes all the way to where the door is going to be. Right now, there's just a cutout for the door. And when I got these lights, initially I thought, oh my God, that's a lot of lights. It's going to be so much work. I am not ready to do it now. So I sat on it for a couple of days, as in the lights were in a box, and I came to a realization of what I get out of it. And for me, it was just having these lights around me helped me to feel like this was my place, and my twinkly forest fairy kind of scenery. And little by little, I started adding things to it as well. As you guys can see, there's quite a few things around me now. And part of me thinks, maybe I should clean some of these things up and just have the lights. But no, I enjoy my setup with abundance of items around me that bring me joy. But initially, I didn't want to do it because it felt like a chore. And in order for me to get it done, I got to see what was in it for me and focusing on the end result. And the end result was the emotional state, the feelings and emotions that I would feel having those lights up, and not the task itself. Seeing the end result and feeling the end result got me so excited that I put these lights up in like 10 minutes. And what in my mind, I had an idea of it's going to take me hours, what is it? Fantasy versus reality, that our mind is so powerful that it fantasizes that certain tasks are going to take us this long to do, versus reality, where in reality it took me just 10 minutes to do and it wasn't even that big of a task. So that's another thing that you can add to that list of the list that you have, writing maybe in the brackets or in the front, however you want to do it, how long you think this task is going to take you to do. And then if you want to bring in your inner child, maybe your inner child can take this as a challenge, and in the way of, so you think it's going to take me 2 hours to do, but I want to prove you wrong. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to time myself and see how long this task actually takes me to do, and then we'll see who wins. Right? Having a little bit of a contest with yourself, or with your, negative Nancy self, the gremlin in your mind that is telling you, no, don't do it right now. It's going to take you too long. You don't have time for that. No, don't do that, because that voice, its job is to protect you. And the protective part is keeping you small and keeping you playing small. It served you when you were little, but it's no longer serving you. But that is one of the biggest default programs as well for you. So Thank you, everybody. Other than that, the one thing that I wanted to mention is that I am actually in the process of putting together a very, very powerful quest, which is a program which will be about 6 to possibly 7 week program that I will be taking a group of women through in the new year-ish, which will be February. We're planning on launching it February 14th, the day of love for you, which will have the ripple effect for everyone else in your life as well. Because when you work on yourself and you overcome your own limitations, your own blocks, your own stories, the you on the other side is something that you dream of and you have been aspiring and working towards. And if you're looking for the step-by-step to help you get there, look no further. That's the phrase that comes to mind. Look no further. You have found it. It will be something that will help you to overcome those blocks. But you still have time because it starts in February. So this is just a tiny little seed planting for now to help you get a little bit excited about what's to come for you and for us if you are wanting to work together. And yeah, keep your eyes and ears open for that. Little by little, I'll be feeding you more information of what it's going to be about. But you can imagine, based on these conversations today, on this video today, what you can get out of that. Other than that, thank you very much. Thank you, Debbie. And there was a couple of other ladies that were on here that I saw. Thank you, everybody who was on here with me. Let me know if you watch this live or if you're watching the replay, and if you find this video helpful, because it is on my personal page. It is shareable outside anywhere you want to share it. I keep my page public, but my life private. So just because the page is public does not mean my life is, right? Just a little bit of a seed for some of you out there as well. If you are struggling with feeling like you have to share everything about yourself and about your life, that you do not have to. It is also a choice. So thank you, and until next time, for one of these story times on Tuesdays, where I go live on my personal page at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time, or maybe we shall see you tomorrow at our podcast, Heal the Unicorn Podcast, which Bethany and I do live in our Facebook group called Heal the Unicorn Spiritual Awakening for Women. And if you're not part of this growing and thriving community, then I invite you in to come and join and check it out and see what's in it for you. And until we see each other next, bye everybody. Thanks for being here.